Imagine a world where everybody supports their inner growth and the expansion of others. What a time we're in.
And hey everyone, welcome to today's Community and Connection with Jenna Brooks and her guest, Michael Doyle from Doyle It In.
Welcome, Michael.
So excited to connect with you.
That up there. Everyone, I'm really excited to introduce you to Michael Doyle. He is a personal and business coach. He has quite the journey in London and throughout. We were just chatting a little bit about his experience. I didn't know he was a musician. So let's talk a little bit about your path and what led you to being that inspirational speaker, that personal coach, and that business coach.
Yeah, I actually love to talk about that. And I feel like I don't share that part a lot, but it's interesting because people often told me I should be a motivational speaker, or they literally called me a life coach. I'd help a lot of people on their next steps. And even though I worked in corporate finance for 15 years, my role wasn't just finance. I worked with IT, I worked with communications. I sat with one-on-one with the RDG about numbers, but I also dealt with HR, and the people came to me for problem solving. And I didn't really notice when something is natural to you, you don't feel like it's a gift or a big deal because that's just what you do, right? Mm-hmm. And as we briefly spoke before we went live here, we connect the dots looking back. And looking back, my life journey, every experience, every obstacle that I now embrace, I'm grateful for, led me to where I am. So I didn't choose coaching. I didn't choose speaking. I didn't choose writing. I can't believe I'm an author. I'm co-authoring several books, and I'm writing another book right now, but it chose me. I'm so clear on my purpose that I'm here to unlock the potential in other people. And I see the light in everyone I meet with, and I can't wait to help them see that light too. So I'm not meant to help everyone. The people that I'm meant to help with, I know that I can connect with and learn from. I learn from everyone. So when you reached out to me, like I start everything with gratitude. So thank you. I'm grateful to be here. So grateful that you reached out. We briefly met at Power Up London at an event just a few months back. Deb Crow and James and Jonathan or Joseph, sorry, it was a really great event, and I really enjoyed all the speakers that night and reached out to several of them after. Wow. But in a nutshell, it was my journey that brought me to what I'm doing. And if I knew 10 years ago I'd be doing this, it would have overwhelmed me. But because I didn't know where I was leading, I just took 1-2 steps and figured out. I keep always saying you could drive all night in the fog, and I'm from Newfoundland, so I did that a lot. But you can drive all night in the fog and only see 3 feet ahead of you and still get to where you're going. So for me, the first thing I got into was fitness, and that sparked me into my writing and confidence and got me into personal development and just human potential. And next thing I know, everything's about clarity and flow state and potential. So you don't need to know the way, you just need to know the why, and the way shows up.
And what if someone is having a hard time figuring out their why?
So I think right now, above any other time, we are all being gifted an opportunity. Like every situation, it's either we can see it as a victim or as an opportunity, right? Totally. We are our greatest asset and our biggest obstacle. And the one we fuel is the one we keep alive, and it's the one we really live from. Mm-hmm. So I always say, not to get too philosophical here, but I love talking about consciousness. And there's 2 words in the language of the soul. There's fear and love. And if we lead with fear, we create more of the unwanted. And we create from love, we create more things to be grateful for, more things to be excited about. And it's just a spiral in the right direction, right? So for people that are feeling lost or not quite sure what their calling is, it's not about like getting really caught up on what's my purpose, what's my why. Yes, it's important to get there, but it's start with clarity first. What's one thing I can do today? What's something I'm passionate about? What is it you were doing when time disappears? What floats your boat? What makes you come alive? And look at those things and take time to journal. There's so many tools that I give my clients that help them slowly find that clarity. I always say that clarity, like, yes, I'm the clarity guy, but it doesn't mean I'm super clear on everything all the time. No one is, right? So, there's ebb and flow and there's ups and downs, and it's something that you need to revisit. But really, success, happiness, fulfillment starts on the inside. So I'm all about self-mastery, and the most important communication we ever have, I learned from Tony Robbins, is the way we communicate with ourselves. Yeah. And when we really figure that out, I still have negative self-talk, just like anyone. Yeah. But now when it's there, I'm like, oh, cool. Now it's the positive trigger to train the new pattern, right? Yeah. It's okay to, I am Mr. Positive for sure. People always told me that. And I had a boss that said I was too positive. But at the same time.
You can handle that though, right?
No, I know. Yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't mean like.
Yourself? Do you ever get annoyed with yourself?
No, I don't think I'm hilarious up in my own mind. I always say I'm hilarious in my own mind, so I never get bored, right? So, um, and if I'm cleaning or cooking, there's music and I'm dancing. I'm always trying to keep my vibration high, right? So
Good.
it's about what you focus on. So right before our call, the sun was coming in through the window. I had music on. I was making a coffee. I just got back from a run. I was like, wow, like life to me, life is amazing, right? Life is what you focus on. And yes, there's darkness, but we don't remove the darkness by focusing on it. We remove the darkness by shining our light, right? So we're all being called to journey inward,
Totally.
and just figure out what our next steps are, what lights us up, and do more of that, right?
Yeah, I was listening to um, I love Oprah and her Super Soul Sundays.
Me too,
And
actually.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, right. And Brene Brown and talking about always operating out of either fear or love, and that's your ultimate purpose. And I was listening to this one podcast, I think it was a week or so ago, and really this time is about resetting, like the planet's resetting. We have the opportunity to reset our mind, reset our body, and reset every day if you need to, every hour if you need to.
Yeah.
Like, I go through ups and downs throughout the day all the time, especially like with real estate. Like, I operate on like high energy all the time, and now
Yeah.
with this COVID, it's not that high. So I'm constantly like, how do I navigate? What am I doing right now, and how to reset, and giving yourself permission to maybe not feel good sometimes, and that's
Absolutely.
okay, right?
Yes.
That acceptance, that's okay, and finding that purpose in that moment or in that day, that acceptance, that mindfulness. Yeah, so that totally resonates a lot with, I think, anybody watching this, right?
Absolutely. And I love that you say that, because too many people, myself included, used to like beat myself up for like not being happy or positive or having that fear.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. That's my
Ah,
belief. Right. And,
that
and
one.
and we are just like, we're walking each other home, as Ramdas said, and we're going to have highs, we're going to have lows. But for the most part, there's things I do daily, weekly, monthly that help me show up the way I show up. It doesn't mean that I'm always in the pocket. Some days I'm a train wreck, and more days I'm rocking it, right? But I'm only trying to compete against myself. I create, I don't compete. I'm trying to show up every day a little bit better than the day before. Some days I do, some days I don't. I brush myself off and I just keep going, right? So it's like, oh, that I learned from that. So everything happens for us, not to us. So even with this COVID, I know it's a pretty serious pandemic, and a lot of people are being affected by it, whether it's through health or stress or through work, and all the unknowns.
Yeah.
But there's also an opportunity to see that the planet is healing. Like, there's places in the world that the air quality is 40% better in only a 1 week, right? So there's a lot of massive shifts happening right now. And again, to go back to consciousness, I do believe that this is a shift of the greater consciousness. And I do believe when things go back, they will never go back to the way they were, and that the world as we know it, yeah, it's onward and upward. And I think it will help us, because through every adversity, there's always an equal or greater opportunity.
100%.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time here, Michael. And if people want to get in touch with you, I'll put the link in the comments. Boil it in, and your book, At the Helm.
At the Helm.
Yeah.
I have it right here, because anytime I have a free half hour, an hour, I put the mic on and I'm recording myself. It's so funny. I'm laughing at myself trying to read my own book, but I'm turning it into an audiobook. So it's going to be out.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
Right on. Okay. Well, thanks again. And we'll talk to you all soon. Take care.
Thank you, Jenna.
Bye.